What is up, everyone, and welcome back. In this video, we are going to be going over everything regarding APA for our textbook. I believe this is chapters 9 and chapters 11. And so we're going to go through and we're going to break down APA and kind of what I'm looking for in regards to your outlines for your informative as well as your persuasive speech when it comes to APA. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and open up this APA outline breakdown. Yours may look a little bit differently on your Canvas page, but it should all still be available to you. And so we're going to go through and we're going to break down each of these components here. All right. So as you can see in the upper left-hand corner, we have running head. The R is the only thing in caps for running head, and then we have colons, and then let's say, for instance, I want to do my informative speech on the history of makeup. The history of makeup, everything would be all in caps. If you have a long title for your paper or for your outline, you can break it down a little bit more. It could just be referred to as makeup or history of makeup, but your title for your cover page would have a running head in the upper left-hand corner, and then the history of makeup all in caps. So whatever your title is, all in caps for the running head. And then you'll also see in the right-hand corner for our cover page a number. So it's going to be number 1. As you can see, very big difference between MLA and APA formatting is that our last name is not in the upper right-hand corner. Our first name is not anywhere in the running head. So if you go down, here we have the history of makeup, Cecilia Gutierrez, California State University, San Bernardino, Riverside City College. So we have the title, we have our first and last name, and then we have the institution. These are the 3 items I am looking for in regards to your cover page. So you, of course, have the running head, you have the page number, and then in the middle here, you have the title of your outline, the name of yourself, and then your institution. This is kind of all crammed in one just because it's for visualization, just so you can kind of get an understanding of like the different components associated with outlining and with APA, but everything should be double spaced. So this here, the history of makeup, Cecilia Gutierrez, the institution, everything should be centered and in the middle of the paper for this cover page. All right, so that's what our cover pages do look like. And then over here, this is going to be the first page right here of our outline. And so now if we look in the upper left-hand corner for our running head, there's no longer that running head. The capital R running head, that doesn't exist anymore on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th page. So instead, we have just the title in the upper left-hand corner, and then it is in all caps. And then we have the continuation of the page number, which is page 2. And this is going to be the same now for page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just going to continue on with the numbering, and it's going to continue on with the title of the page or the title of the outline in the upper left-hand corner. Okay, so then following that, we have our introduction. Remember, this is a full sentence outline now. It's not just keywords, it's full sentence. So this is kind of just a breakdown of the key components for the outline. So within our introduction, we have our attention getter, we have our general purpose now, our specific purpose, credibility, central idea. If you don't know what any of those are, refer back to chapter 5 video, and it goes through and it breaks down what each of those elements are. It's a continuation or an extension of what we discussed in chapter 10, beginning and ending our speech. So now we're moving on to the informative speech, and we have these new components here. Moving on, we have a transition statement, which lets us know, hey, I'm going from my introduction to my body. And so then we have all of these broken down here. So everything, again, will be double spaced, Times New Roman font, upper right hand corner page number, and remember there's 1-inch margin. Usually when you go on Microsoft Word, for instance, it already has the 1-inch margin for you. You do need to change it from Arial to Times New Roman. I will have a template for all of you just so that you can open it up and then put your own information into the Google Doc, or you need to save the Google Doc and then you can type your own information, or the Microsoft Word doc, you open it up, you type in your information, you save it as a PDF, and then you upload it. But this is kind of just a breakdown for for you. So if you don't have access to that, you're still able to go through, write papers, write outlines using this type of format. This is what APA is all about. So 1-inch margin, everything should be double spaced. I know it looks a little condensed here. Again, it was for visualization. And then page 3, we have main point 3 and then conclusion. Your outline might be 3 pages, it might be 4 pages. I don't anticipate that your outline is just going to be 2 pages just because you are using in-text citations, and we're going to talk about in-text citations in a bit. So then you have your outline, it looks beautiful, it looks great, and then your final page should be your reference page. And so you look in the upper left-hand corner, you still have the name, you still have the page number, but now references, it's not works cited. Works cited is MLA. We have references which are centered at the top of our page. It's not part of the running head. It's on the page, it's centered. And then again, everything is double spaced. It doesn't have that additional space after the paragraph. It's just double spaced. So references centered. Following that, we have our references or our sources that we used within our outline. So everything that is in your reference page should mirror what you have inside of your outline. So if I have Bernstein here, I should be able to go in your outline and find Bernstein 2002 somewhere. Herbst, I should be able to go back through your outline and see Herbst somewhere, because you have to reference the individuals wherever you're citing the information, because if it's not your information, it needs to be cited. That's essentially it. If it's not something that you made up, it's not something that you know about, which it shouldn't be because it's an informative speech, it needs to have those in-text citations. Okay, so moving on, let's go ahead and jump right into, let me go back for a second. Let's go ahead and jump into informative speech. Informative speech. Okay, so how to cite guidelines. Let's go ahead and click on that. View. Okie doke. All right, so a lot of the time individuals will ask, what is a DOI? Because you'll see DOIs within here, and it looks a little bit funky because it is on my iPad. It looks different on desktop. But if you look here, DOI, it's the digital object identifier. If the article that you're looking at does not have one of these, that's okay. That's fine. Do not stress. It doesn't need it then. If it doesn't have a digital object identifier, which is a very, very long number, it's usually in the upper left-hand corner. It usually will say DOI. Just forget it. Don't put that information in there. And so you could use Purdue OWL. I believe EasyBib too will go through and it'll help you like acknowledge like, hey, you need to put the last name, comma, first initial, so on and so forth. So this is kind of just my breakdown for each of the different types of sources that you may use for your outlines or for other papers that you may use if you need to use APA. And so most of the time students in public speaking, they'll use online articles, which I do encourage you to use our online database. And so the online database also has a citation area where you can go through and copy and paste it, but it's not always accurate, and that's why we're going over that today. So for online articles, you'll see last name, comma, first initial, middle initial. So in comparison to MLA guidelines, it no longer has the first name. We do not reference authors or researchers by their first name in APA. Instead, it's last name. So Johnson, for instance, or Bernstein right here, comma, first initial, middle initial. If they don't have a middle initial, you don't put the middle initial. So it would look something like this, Bernstein, comma, M, period. Then it would have the year it was published, a period again. Then it would have the title of the article, period, and then the title of the online periodical. So for instance, which we do not use Wikipedia, and we'll talk about that in another video, but if, for instance, you went on Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the title of the online periodical, and I'm doing like my parentheses with my fingers. So let's say you go on Wikipedia and you search, Justin Bieber, okay? So the title of the article would be Justin Bieber because that's the title, right? It's specific to that specific individual and what you're researching. The title of the online periodical would be Wikipedia. We do not use Wikipedia in this class. Remember, it should be online sources from scholarly individuals who know what they're talking about in regards to the subject matter. We want to find individuals who are credible to discuss this information. We do not want to go on procons.org or go to a blog and take bits of information. We want to find scholarly articles from individuals who know what they're talking about and where we can go through and do additional research on their background and their education and their experience within that field. And so, again, this is kind of an example of what it would look like. Bernstein, M, it has all of that. And then for online articles, you do need to put where it's retrieved from, and it would look exactly like that on your reference page. It would say retrieved from, and then you'd copy and paste the link. So if you're using anything from online, you need to put retrieved from and then copy and paste the link there. Again, all of this is double spaced. All of this is Times New Roman font. It's just looking a little bit squished here because it's on my iPad and the formatting is off. And so next, there's an online article without an author. So if, for instance, you go onto something.org, something.edu. If you go to, for instance, our website, Riverside City College, our website, there's not a specific author for anything posted on there. And so you would need to put the article title. So if you go on the DMV website, how to renew your passport, right? So you would put that, the article title, period, the year, website organization, so that would be DMV, and then retrieve from blank. So as you can see here, there's no specific author mentioned. And so it goes through and it breaks down all of these for you. You can also use Purdue OWL. You can also really use our friendly search engine, Google, and just make sure that it overlaps with what you see here. And APA is always adjusting, as is MLA, but I feel like they're always making adjustments to these. But this is what I'm looking for here. Last name, comma, first initial, middle initial. If you're missing the author, you would go through and follow step number 2. And so it goes through, it breaks down all of the ones that I typically see students use. And so remember, for your reference page, you do at least need 3 sources from online scholarly, or not even online, but just scholarly sources, individuals who are credible within the field. So now that we talked about your reference page and what I'm looking for in regards to APA, double space, Times New Roman font, let's go ahead and look at in-text citations. So a lot of the time students get confused between in-text citations and oral citations. So in-text citations are within your essay or within your outline. And because we are outlining, we are specifically talking about using in-text citations within our APA outlines, our full sentence APA outlines. And so you would need to paraphrase or summarize the material in your own words, right? So it's like you going and you watching a movie and then your friend asking, hey, Cecilia, what was that movie about? You don't go through and say word for word exactly what was mentioned in the movie as if you were the characters. Instead, you're summarizing the information, or if there's a specific sentence or sentences, you would go through and you'd paraphrase it. You'd start to use your own words, but it may follow somewhat of a similar format, but you're again using your own thoughts and your own words to kind of give a brief synopsis of what was mentioned inside of the article. And so in doing that, you need to cite where you got the information from. So even if you are paraphrasing the information, even if you are summarizing the information, you still need to put the organization or the last name of the author and the year. All right, so it would look something like that. According to the World Health Organization, so if it doesn't have any type of author, you would put the organization and then the year. And then for an author, if you do happen to have the last name or names, you would say something, or you would put something according to Thompson 2018, blah, 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 blah. And then last but certainly not least, if you're paraphrasing, let's say you paraphrase something and you don't want to put according to blank, you could end it with Thompson 2018 or World Health Organization 2018. This is just letting me know as I go through your essay or your outline that, hey, this is where they got the information from. This is not their own ideas. And the majority of your paper should not just be direct quotation marks. It should be summarizing and it should be paraphrasing information. And so since we are talking about direct quotes, let's get into that. How do I go about incorporating in-text citations with direct quotes? This is what it would look like. The government has committed da 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 da. It's exactly from that website. And so you need quotation marks. If it is directly from the website, even like some students will change one word that is plagiarism if you are not putting the organization, if you're not putting where you retrieve the information from, because essentially without putting the quotation marks, you're saying, it's insinuated that these are your words, these are your thoughts, you're paraphrasing or summarizing the information, which is not true at all. We need those quotation marks to let us know, hey, this is directly from this website. These are not my thoughts. This is not my summary of the information. This is directly from the website. And so then you would, again, in parentheses, put World Health Organization at the end, the last name of the author or authors at the end, the year. And then the thing with direct quoting is that you would need to put a page number or a paragraph number if there isn't a page number for it. So then there's another example of that as well. So there's in-text citations. In-text citations are within your outlines. And then we have oral citations, which are within your presentations, your presentation videos. It is what you say out loud during your presentations, letting us know this information is not mine. Can you plagiarize during presentations? Yes, you can, right? We've seen this where individuals will steal, in a sense, someone else's joke, a comedy joke, or where someone will literally verbatim steal someone else's speech. And so it's always important to give credit where credit is due, and that includes during our presentations as well. It's very similar to the outline in that we are citing and we're letting them know, hey, Johnson 2016, this is research to support my idea. So these are examples of what you would say out loud. So in his 2005 book, Eating to Be Smart, Larson, a registered dietitian, notes that consuming yogurt, So you can see here we have the last name of the author, we have the book name, we have the year, and we have that individual's credentials. And so that's what I'm going to be looking for in regards to your oral citation. So during your presentation, I am looking for the last name or the organization, the year, and the credentials of that individual or individuals, which may require additional research. A lot of the time, you could Google search this individual and they'll have their own website. They'll have an entire website devoted to all of their different articles or all of their different research. So it may cause a bit more research on your behalf just to make sure that this individual is credible to give this information or this organization is credible to give this information. And so information you should provide: author, organization, year, credentials, title, So there's again another example of it broken down. And so that's going to be it for this particular video. So we talked about APA, we talked about the reference page and kind of how we go about breaking down the reference page. We talked about in-text citations as well as oral citations. If you have any questions or concerns about this specifically, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, send me an email. We can always have a Zoom session, and I will see you all in the next one.